Good evening. My name is Marcus Smallwood. I'm a student with American Military University, Management 615. This is June the 15th, 2019, and it's my Week 6 Ethical News Story video. The thin blue line, those who stand in the gap between good and evil. Without our law enforcement organizations and their dedicated officers, where would our society be? What happens when that thin blue line becomes corrupted? How does this happen, and what can the leadership do to prevent it? Today we take a look at one organization, the Baltimore Police Department, which has been plagued by a slew of ethics scandals in recent years. We will take a look at the federal government's intervention and local efforts to strategically plan a solution to the ethics problems. The Baltimore, Maryland Police Department was formed nearly 175 years ago, and today, with close to 3,350 employees, including over 2,500 police officers, serves a population of 621,000. It is the 8th largest municipal police department in the United States. Federal investigators with the Justice Department found that police in Baltimore routinely violated the constitutional rights of local residents, particularly in predominantly poor Black neighborhoods. They used excessive force, mistreated protesters, youths, and people with mental disabilities, and dismissed sexual assault complaints improperly, among other failings. Therefore, in April 2017, a series of ethics and corruption scandals, the Baltimore Police Department experienced yet another embarrassing scandal when a federal judge ordered vast police reforms in the form of a consent decree. This would allow the federal government, through the Department of Justice, to micromanage the operations of the Baltimore Police Department. The goal of the consent decree is to have a stronger police department that fights crime while it serves and protects the civil and constitutional rights of Baltimore residents. The Baltimore Police Department had a rash of ethics scandals between 2017 and 2018, including a DUI officer on duty, an officer punching a man on video, officer drug trafficking, failure to respond to a man with a gun call, the firing of 2 commissioners for corruption, the murder of a police detective by other officers, body cam tampering by officers to frame suspects, officers arrested for racketeering and conspiracy by federal agents, and civil rights violations, riots, and the wrongful death of suspects in police custody. Escalating violence. A bloody 2017 ended with 342 killings in Baltimore. The surge in street violence was a per capita record for the city. After 318 killings in 2016 and 342 killings in 2015, prior to that, there hadn't been 300 homicides in Baltimore in a single year since 1999. Some of the strategic planning goals under the consent decree, the Baltimore Police Department will work to ensure that the involved entities interact together to investigate misconduct and must provide a process for guiding such interactions, developing protocol for communication or coordination between the entities. The monitoring team said the department must also address larger structural issues, including the way supervisors address officer performance issues. The team said the way complaints are currently classified is overly complicated and leads to a lack of uniformity and consistency. Some classifications are overly broad, while others are too narrow. Clearly, the Baltimore Police Department was suffering from serious ethics shortcomings. Codes of ethics must be established which are relevant and part of the value components of the organization's overall strategic plan. With changes in technology, types of policing, and sources of societal conflict, there is a potential array of new or evolving ethical considerations that confront the profession. The International Association of Chiefs of Police, or IACP, has created the Law Enforcement Code of Conduct, and the Code for Conduct for Law Enforcement Officials has been prepared by the United Nations. These are valuable documents recognized by the law enforcement agencies globally and respected as valid templates in their values assessments, strategic planning and training curriculum. Corruption and deviant behavior are not unique to law enforcement officials, but the powers vested in their position expose them to a range of special opportunities to engage in diverse forms of misconduct. For codes of ethics to be useful, they must also include elements of enforcement so they can act as effective accountability measures. Studies have shown that in police departments there is a direct link between organizational injustice and employee deviance. In the list of ethics violations involving the Baltimore Police Department, several mentioned included high-ranking officers and officials, including commissioners. Results of the studies indicate that officers who view their agency as fair and just in managerial practices are less likely to adhere to a code of silence or believe that police corruption in pursuit of noble cause is justified. Research has consistently shown that organizations that are perceived as unjust by their employees produce situations conducive to employee deviance. To the extent employees perceive their organization to be unfair because it uses unfair procedures for resource allocations, employees will develop negative attitudes toward that organization. In the discussion of organizational justice and police misconduct, when employees are dissatisfied with fairness and procedures, they are more likely to violate organizational norms and commit acts of deviance. Police misconduct is a topic of great interest to police administrators who are responsible for enacting policies and strategies to control the behavior. Strategic planning, properly done, will provide a powerful management tool for any organization. By setting priorities and providing for the proper allocation of resources, a framework of analysis and adaptation is set in place. Members focus more clearly on the organization's priorities while building commitment and promoting cooperation and innovation. If we reaffirm why the organization exists, reinforce its values, emphasize ethical practices, and demand a culture of accountability, then we've achieved the primary purpose for undertaking a strategic planning process. It is said that police operate in a fishbowl. They are in the public eye, even more so with police body cameras and smartphones' video capabilities. An ethical violation in Baltimore may have repercussions by negatively affecting public confidence in police around the country. Building a system of ethics and values into the strategic plan, then training to these and demanding these as well as emulating these at all levels is the right thing to do. Thank you.